All right, welcome back to the On Becoming Sovereign podcast, where we talk about all ways we self abandon and come home to ourselves. And today I have Aaron James Yager on the podcast, and we're going to talk all things modern dating. Because I don't know about you, but if there is one place that we can fall in the trap of self abandonment, it is sometimes in the world of dating. So,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure, right? So,
Yeah.
let me know, first of all, I don't know why I did that. Can you just tell us a bit about yourself?
I
Introduce
sure can. I
yourself.
sure can. I'm going to make sure that I'm on Do Not Disturb as well. Yeah, I
Yes.
am. All right. So, yeah, Aaron James Yager. I live in Salt Lake City, Utah. I've been in Utah for about 5 years and absolutely loved it. Been all over the world, traveled a lot, and absolutely like a big fan of life. I enjoy what I do. I love what I do. And I enjoy doing it with incredible people. And so my story started with a really incredible man, my grandfather, who his name is Gideon D. Hill Jr. He's no longer with us as of about 10 years ago, but he is the man that inspired me to be into self-development, into looking inward, looking into and becoming aware of our weaknesses, our strengths, and how we show up in the world, not just as a man, but as a human being. And so he taught me some early lessons, got me into and challenged me to every day listen to a book, read a book, listen to an audio tape or audiobook program, and watch a video on something that's going to improve me as a human being. And so I've always been about how fascinated with how people work, how people live, how people get stuck in what's going on in their psyche and their emotions. And so I put on the coaching hat really early in my life to become an observer of humans, to become also a safe place and a transformational guide for people since an early age, like really, really early since I started that journey. And so that's brought me to being a high performance coach, a breathwork facilitator, and experience creator, as well as just entrepreneur involved in some other projects. So building my life, building my wealth, building my way of being, but also like how am I going to drive impact, and also being single, being someone in the dating world after having a conscious uncoupling a year and a half or so ago. It's a whole new world. So I love this topic of dating and not abandoning yourself, and how do we navigate all of this. So that's a little bit about my story. If you want me to cover something else, I can.
No, that's perfect. Thanks for sharing all that. And yeah, you do always seem like you're out in the world doing all kinds of things from Instagram. But yeah, dating. So let's talk dating. I mean, yeah, it's hard to. That's nice that you were in a conscious uncoupling. I was definitely in a not so conscious uncoupling, but I do find that dating is a place that we tend to self-abandon. I'll just quickly maybe share what something that I was thinking about in leading up to this podcast was one of the ways that when I first got back into the dating world that I found myself self-abandoning was just in that proving energy that I was still sort of stuck in that wound of needing to prove that I was worthy, prove that I was enough, and finding myself getting into these relationships where there was things about it that weren't aligned, but I found myself compromising and thinking, oh, I'll just go with this because I wanted so desperately to be seen, right? So I think that's, where have you come up in self-abandoning when it comes to dating?
Great question. I think for me, my experience, and also doing this kind of work, the unconscious as a hypnotherapist and as someone who's doing this constantly, not only for myself, but also for my clients, I have a unique perspective of this. And where I'll kind of start to answer that question when I was in relationship, where I was abandoning myself. That was where, one, I wasn't creating and holding boundaries. I wasn't holding my masculine frame. I was always making sure my partner was good. If she was bad, if she was not in a good place, then that became I had to solve that. I had to go do that. And I would also consciously and unconsciously throw myself under the bus because I believed I had to do something to be loved. That I had to do something so big, then I could get to receive the love, as opposed to just being worthy of having love. So as that there was a lot of reflection as that relationship ended, but then stepping back into the world of, and not right back into it, but after a little bit of time, I'll get to that as well. And I'll talk about something that I did, I think is really important for any male or female to do after a relationship. I then had to take account of, okay, where am I abandoning myself? Where am I throwing myself under the bus for love more? Where am I not holding boundaries? And where am I out of integrity with myself? Because if you're out of integrity with yourself and then you're in relationship with someone, that's going to bleed over if you're out of integrity.
For sure.
And so those are the big things that I look at in myself when I was starting to date, because they say, everybody's got baggage. Okay. Yeah, we do have emotional baggage. We have trauma baggage and all that kind of stuff. And if we don't take the time when we're on our own before a relationship, if that's an opportunity, then it is easy to take baggage from past relationships into the new one. And that's where we see the cycles keep repeating. The date's not working out, the self-sabotage happening, or we're getting along further and then something blows up, whether it's us or them. And so those are the areas that I focused to call out, okay, where did I abandon myself? And what am I not going to tolerate again for any relationship?
Right.
Right? What am I not willing to tolerate? And that becomes those kind of boundaries and areas of like levels of standards of excellence, or standards of like, what do I really want? What do I really not want? So that I'm crystal clear about that going into dating.
Yeah.
And I'm 44 now. It's way easier to date now because I'm like way more picky. I'm way more. So I used to be what I call Captain Save-A-Ho. I was the self-development guy. I can get through anything, can solve any problem. I can find these beautiful women. Okay, they're beautiful, they're hot, they're like wonderful to be around, feels great, maybe the chemistry and the sex is great, but it's like, but then there's just like these red flags. It's like, that's fine. We can deal with that later. They'll be fine. They'll be able to, we can figure that out. And it's like, ignore. And then it's like, wow, what am I doing? Why am I with this person? How do I feel abandoned?
Right.
And then it ends up hurting the other person too, because you weren't honest with yourself. And that sucks. And a lot of times it's not the other person. It's because we haven't done the work that then we say, it's not you, it's me, which there is truth to it in many, many, many ways. But it's not fair to bring that stuff into a relationship or even into the dating matrix. So hopefully that was a long-winded question to kind of set up for another answer. But did I answer that for you?
Yeah, no, you answered that. And there was so many good things in that. And I agree with that. And I do think something you touched on that I really agree with is that taking the time, if we can, to, once we've exited a relationship, especially if it's been a long-term relationship, right? Where we maybe found that we've self-abandoned or whatever it is, to take the time to look at, okay, where have I dropped myself? Where have I abandoned myself? And you said something along the lines of, what are the things I no longer tolerate that I tolerated that were out of line with, what you wanted, what you needed, right? And so I think taking that time is so important, because otherwise, like you said, we do call in, it's like the loop, right? The universe loves to send you the same problem over and over again until you go through the loop. And we're calling in the same people, different faces, dealing with the same problem and wondering, how did I self-abandon yet again, right?
Yeah.
And I loved what you touched on too about, I know when I'm in the middle of a divorce. We've been separated for numerous years, but when I first was separated, I loved to blame him. I loved to be like, well, it's because he didn't do this and he didn't do that. And it's taken so much work to get to the place of, well, I didn't do so many things either, right? I was so unfair to him too. And until I was able to take that ownership and say, okay, where did I drop the ball, and where was I also not showing up in the best way, that helps moving forward with any relationship, right? Because otherwise,
For sure.
it's just that constant blame game of what the other person did wrong,
I call it radical self-responsibility.
Right.
It's like, no matter what the other person does, we have to, I think it's really important to get to a place of where you can ask, no matter how bad or effed up it is, where did I play in this? Where do I have responsibility in this thing that happened? Because it happened. It takes two to tango. And our unconscious mind can be bringing things to us to help us learn the freaking lesson And relationships are one of the best ways to do that. It's a mirror to our life. It's an incredible mirror, just like a business is a mirror of what's going on inside. The results on the outside are exactly what's going on in here. When I say point here, I'm pointing to the heart, but it's also soul, mind, heart, gut, the whole central intelligence agency here. Like this is important to be in alignment with. So when we're taking radical self-responsibility, we've got to look inward. It's like, well, why are we calling this person in this situation? Why are we allowing it? Why is that being tolerated? Okay, what is the lesson here? Where is the boundary that I didn't set? Right? So being at cause as opposed to reaction. You're either creating or you're reacting in life.
Right.
And if you notice, it's almost the same word, creating, acting. Just move the R.
Right.
All right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if we're only if that's true, and we're bringing in these certain relationships, we chose this, then we have to look at, and this is where most people aren't taught this, the unconscious mind, the subconscious or unconscious mind. What's opposite of us? You and I are in beta right now, beta brainwave level. If we close our eyes and we start doing a little breathing, we're going to go to alpha. In hypnotherapy, what we're doing is inducing all the way down to theta, right there above delta, which is sleep, totally unconscious. Everyone's up and down through these different brain waves, and they're constantly in a state of hypnosis. People don't realize this, but we're always in a state of some level of hypnosis. Hypnosis is really where that meat and potatoes is, where we're in theta. And our unconscious mind, if we want the dream relationship, or we want $1 million this year, or we want to be able to travel the world and work from our laptop, whatever it is we want, we're choosing with our conscious mind. And here's the law. Here's the thing people have to understand. And in relationships, everything goes through the unconscious mind filter. So if you're choosing to go this way, if your conscious mind is choosing that stuff, but your unconscious mind thinks it's unsafe, doesn't like it, is not on board, and it's going this way, your unconscious mind is always going to win.
Right.
Always. This is just how it is. We've got to get the unconscious mind on board. We got to do that work. And especially in relationships, this is the baggage we're talking about. This is going into the shadow, shining the light in the rooms and the dark corners where we don't want somebody to see us. We don't want somebody to see that part of us. And if we go love the shadow, go love the stuff that we think is maybe weak or like we want to hide, those are exactly the parts we need to bring forward and deal with and have a relationship with, so that our inner child, the younger self inside of us, is not showing up in the relationship instead of our adult self. Because our adult self can show up, be a great masculine, a great feminine in the relationship, balance and all that. But most of the time, people love each other. They got a great relationship, but at certain triggering times based on each other's past and the coding of their unconscious mind, the little kid's showing up. The little boys coming to argue, the little girls coming to create shit, talk shit and poke the bear.
Right.
That's who's showing up. So that's our job, is to really go into the unconscious mind, somatically release things through breath work, do the darker work so that we can remove and limit that baggage and be on a healing journey for when we're meeting somebody. It's not 1 + 1 = 2. It's 1 + 1 = 11.
Okay, explain that more. 1 + 1 = 11.
Meaning we are like rocket ships for each other. When we meet, we're not here to complete ourselves. We're already whole beings, and we're showing up into this relationship. We're into this start of something that's going to be expansive where, and I posted this on the Instagram the other day, we want to be with somebody that we get wealthier together, healthier together, sexier together, all of the things together, and get better and better and better. 1 + 1 is not just 2. 1 + 1 becomes 11. It's exponential, where everything is in alignment to where this relationship is a fuck yeah on every level. And it feels so good that we're like, wow, we're going to take over the world together. And we've got this, right? To where each person has done their own individual healing. And yes, there can still be healing in relation to each other. But that's what I mean is, like, it's not limited because both people have done the work.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think that's really important to talk about because I think for so long, even in my marriage, I wanted somebody to complete me, right? I wanted to feel so worthy that I was looking for love outside of myself. But the only way to really, like you're saying, be in a truly sovereign relationship, to be in a relationship where a person two people take over the world, become their best selves, is if we love ourselves enough in the shadows. I like to say, can you hold yourself in grief? Can you hold yourself in sadness? Can you hold all parts of yourself? Or are you expecting somebody else to do it for you? And of course, I want to be in a relationship where somebody sees all parts of me, and I want to see all parts of that person as well. We have to be able to hold ourselves first, though,
Hmm.
I think,
Yeah.
you know?
No one's going to come do it for you.
No.
Like we have programming since we're kids, the knight in shining armor, the perfect love story, all these stories we are told, and this societal programming that we get from a kid childhood, is that someone's going to come save us, or it's the authority, setting authority outside of ourselves as opposed to inward. Like we got ourselves. We are so capable when we are in love with ourselves and we are feeling worthy just in and of ourselves. That's where we can show up better in life, in business, and in relationship to be more whole. And that is the biggest lessons I've learned over the last 3 years.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, and actually that leads me to something I really wanted to talk to you about was this idea that I think I said this when I first asked you to be on here, but I feel that there's this messaging out there in the world that's like, and maybe it's on Instagram and it's not everybody, but there's this thing about women going out there and wanting to be like, there's messaging about find a man who's going to provide for you, make sure there's a man who's good enough, da 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 da, someone who's going to meet you. But it feels to me that there's something missing in the messaging because it's not saying the part of have you done the work to be the person that's being met. And I'm just wondering what you feel about this topic.
I agree. It goes back to we can want something and we want to bring that in, and there can be these expectations on men that women have. And there's a difference, I think, between those expectations and also just women knowing what they really want. And if they have certain things where they want to be provided for, they want to be a mom or they want to be a businesswoman on their own or whatever it may be, getting clear on that is important. And it is becoming and I'll have a story for you to show this better, but it's like doing the work behind the scenes to show up as the woman who's going to magnetically attract that king, and it's going to show up, and trust that the guidance from your inner spirit, higher self, universe, God, whatever you want to call it, is bringing that man into your life who is going to fit the mold of your values, your beliefs, your standards, what you're going to tolerate, what you're not going to tolerate, and that you're on the similar path to being there. In a man who may have established himself in business and money already, is like, look, he's happy to share that. That's not even a thing. It's like, great, that's all going to be there. And then maybe it's a health journey or whatever else he's on, but that's something that you can go on together. So I think that's really important to just make sure that, in women especially, no, not women especially, women and men, we're coming at it from different points of view, but not just like having these level of expectations, but having the expectations and the choices that you want and the standards of excellence. But then, have I done the work to earn that, to be in alignment with these core beliefs and these things that I'm doing? And what do I want to put in as well? What do I want to be in this relationship? So really identifying and making sure that we're learning from the past relationships and not bringing that other stuff back in.
Yeah.
Right? Because a lot of people get really clear after big breakups or things like that. They're like, well, here's what I don't want.
Yeah.
That's great to have, but if you throw in the don't wants to the universe, they're going to bring you more of your don't wants. Yeah, you want to have those identified and then rewrite and get very clear on what you want instead in the positive, and be thinking about that and bringing that in, as opposed to the loop, like we talked about earlier, like the loop coming through where, oh, it's the same stuff. It's all there and we haven't learned yet, so we're just going to keep pulling it in.
Just keep doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. And just having I think it comes down to two. Can we hold it? Do we have the capacity to receive the things that we're asking for, rather than saying, I don't want this, like you're saying, and then just calling in the same pattern. Okay, what do you want? Call that into the universe, and also expand your capacity to receive that. Because if still on some level I feel that I'm unworthy or not enough, then I'm going to have that mirrored back to me no matter what, right? So it is doing that.
Asking the question, who do I need to be, or who do I get to be? Who do I get to become? What is the version of me that attracts that kind of man or that kind of woman? And being just clear on you first. Because there is the importance of craft the ideal design of the woman, of the person, their looks, their behavior, all these things. You can get really clear about that. But also inside, who do we get to become? How does this person think, act, cry, behave, all these things. Like, what is this new identity we're stepping into? And every new relationship is like an initiation, a rite of passage. We don't have the typical rites of passages these days, from woman or girl to woman, boy to man. We don't have all that kind of stuff. But relationships, businesses, the modern landscape give us the opportunities to have initiation, which is a shedding of the old self and is stepping into the new one. So if we actually look at, hey, we're in an initiation right now, but before I go on another journey, what are the things I've got to let go of to then step forward? So here's one of my metaphors. Have you ever been in a hot air balloon?
No, never.
Okay. Well, do you like heights? Are you not
No,
a friend
so
of
this
heights?
lady I knew a bazillion years ago in my 20s jumped out of a hot air balloon because it caught on fire. And so
Oh,
since then, I've had a bit of a, I've never done it before, fear. But
yep.
anyway,
Totally get that. Well, you don't need to go in a hot air balloon for it. Just follow along with me. When we do a hot air balloon in the mornings, it's early in the morning when it's nice and cool. They pull out the balloon or the big balloon, they lay it down, and they get these big fans out and they blow air underneath it to lift it up. And then they have the basket, they tie the basket down with the ropes, tip it over, and start doing the flame to get the hot air underneath there to rise it. And once it gets risen up here, you got the basket down here, it's ready to go. That represents the hot air balloon of your life, of like, okay, we're ready to go. Let's go this way. This is our goals. This is our new relationship. This is what we want. And so you get in and they start pulling on the fire and they're like, all right, let's go. Well, what's the one thing that they forgot to do before they decided to go? Well, they forgot to stop and take off the strings, the tethers, the ropes holding down the basket to the floor. So there's either a path of least resistance or a path of most resistance at that time. Could you imagine trying to fly tied down and you're just scraping the earth? That's what most people are doing.
right.
Okay, they're kind of getting there, but it's a struggle. They're not in the flow of life. They're not surrendered to it, but they're also battened down. But if we take the time to breathe between breathwork, hypnotherapy, subconscious reprogramming, IFS, all these different things that we can do, we start to identify what are the tethers, strings, and threads that are holding our basket back, holding us down. And what are those individually that if we let go of those, it would make everything else easier or unnecessary, and we could be in love and be guided from our core. So that's what I do. So I help people identify those and move through that. And when we do that, then we feel lighter, we feel more open, we feel more safe, and we have worthiness and self-love. Then we're going out and looking for the next things that we want to call in. But again, it's all in the unconscious mind. And that's the identification of these strings and tethers from the relationship, from finances, from job, from career, all these different areas of our life. We have these tethers holding us back from becoming the person we want to become. So we can craft who we want to become, but first we got to look backwards and say, well, what do we need to let go of? So then we can step forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes so much sense. The patterns, the strategies, the things that we've developed, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I love that. And do you think then, once we've looked at these things and we've chosen new ways, or we've become our next identity of self or next level of self, when we're in relationship with another person, those strategies, in my experience, some of them, they don't go away. I mean, you can choose differently, but every once in a while something might happen where you're triggered. And so, or let me know what you think, but I think that for me, the ideal goal is to be with somebody who, yes, we understand, like I individually understand what my maybe past patterns were, the tethers that I've let go of, that person understands theirs. And sometimes if they come up, we're choosing to interact differently, but there's still that repair that can be done in a relationship of some of those old wounds that maybe arise that didn't arise when we weren't in relationship, because people are mirrors to us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
something may come up that you didn't know was still a wound,
Totally.
still
Totally. It won't come up until you're in practice,
in
until you're in
practice, right?
relation. Yeah.
Yeah,
So we do our best to clear the stuff we can.
yeah,
And then we're stepping in more prepared. So maybe we've got 20 or 40% lighter, and maybe we got 60% to go, or maybe it's the opposite, but it doesn't matter. But then it's being able to have that mindset going in to say, hey, relationships are great mirrors. And when those triggers come up, not blaming the other person, but also looking at, well, what is this action or this person saying that's triggering in me, right? That person may not be doing the thing that you think, but it's just through your lens. It's like, ooh, that's like right here in my solar plexus. That hurts. That's, okay,
yeah,
what is that? What's going on there? And thanking that person for helping reveal that, because if we can look at the relationship as a mirror, as a beautiful way of explaining and saying, hey, when you said that, it made me feel this. And can you just work with me on this? Cause like, I don't want to blow up or do any of that. I just really want to like feel this feeling and let you know, like, this is what came up when you said that. And if you have two people that are willing to just be aware and communicate instead of react or pull away and avoid, it can be a really beautiful relationship. Now, easier said than done sometimes, I get it. One thing I did really respect about my former partner and I, we were really great communicators. Even though we didn't work out, we had really wonderful communication for the majority of our relationship. And that was, if we were unresourced, meaning we were unfed, unslept, unsexed, unresourced, and in a place where we're not fully ourselves, and we get into a tiff or an argument or something starting to build there, and we're not resourced to handle it, then we both agreed, let's come back to this when we're both resourced so that we can kind of decompartmentalize and decompress and like feel into it on our own and then come back to that conversation. So I think that's a really good tip for people, is not to just jump right into stuff if you're not resourced, because you can do and say things that are may not in accordance with your best self. But at the same time, when the things are coming up, it's okay to just identify, wow, I'm feeling this thing. You can stop the conversation and be like, ooh, yeah, there's something there. And it may be between the two of you, or it may just be something you got to do for yourself later. Maybe you need to excuse yourself and be like, I need to go cry this out, or I need to go yell this out, or I need to go like feel into this thing and just go do it. So that honesty in relationship, I think, is really beautiful, to just, hey, we're experiencing life together in real time. Giving each other the permission and the acceptance to just, cool, thank you for letting me know that. Or else I wouldn't have known that that was bothering you. And is there anything I said that can help? So I think if you have two people willing to just do life in that way, it can be a heck of a lot more honest and productive and loving, and you grow together.
No, that makes so much sense. And it's that, I mean, if most people are functioning, like you said, dragging with the things on the bottom, right? When I know I found when I was in that really reactive place or functioning more often from that wounded place, it can be hard to move through life because it's always in that reactive state. And no matter what relationship, friends, siblings, whatever, it was, I live in Canada, it was just Canadian Thanksgiving. And one of my aunts said, oh, you're just so less reactive than you used to be, which is true. It's when you've done that work, when you've looked at those parts, then it's easier to show up. And when a conflict does arrive, whether it's like a romantic relationship, or my sister and I had a little thing this weekend, it just felt so much easier this time to argue or have a little disagreement because both of us were functioning from a place where we could talk about it in a very conscious way, which is, that's the goal, I think, in all relationships, just to be able to be our full self and for the other person to be their full self too.
Totally. 100%. You're right on. Before I forget, I wanted to kind of add something in that I did that I think was really helpful. After being together for 10 years, married for 6, going back into dating, immediately was like kind of good, kind of not, kind of a distraction. Wasn't feeling fully like I should be. So I was like, I need to pull myself out of this. There was too much noise inside of me as a man that I was not going to show up for anybody really well. And so I decided to take myself off the market, stop dating, no sex, no kissing, no nothing, no, just a feminine cleanse. And so I did that for almost 6 months. I would still interact with women, but again, there's no like flirting, no like sexual energy, just like really turning that sexual energy inward. And so I'm telling you that it was one of the best things I could have done, is take that time. And it's not about, well, I will say this, when you do something like that, I know from the man side, you don't want that. Then women sense that, and then more women come at you to challenge that, that masculine frame. And it's like, okay, well, very beautiful women are in my life here, and this is very hard, but I'm going to say no. And and just like, look, I'm not available for that right now. Maybe later, but we can be friends. We can hang and even cuddle and hang out. But aside from that, I'm not available for anything else. And so that also then challenges your integrity, and you stay in integrity with yourself. And then what it did for me was it just helped me fall back in love with myself as a man, as a human, as opposed to having that tied to my other partner. and having that validation or not. And I learned a lot from loving myself. And so sometimes we love other people, we put others in front of us, and we lose ourselves. So it helped me fall back in love with myself, be okay being alone, sleeping alone, doing all that stuff, and getting whole again myself, so that then I can go back out in the wild and say, cool, I'm ready to call in, maybe not call in my queen for my kingdom and to build that next life, but to at least start opening up to the divine feminine. And when I did that, I had really incredible women, whether it was romantic or not, just coming in and seeing me for who I am, not having to do anything, not having to prove anything. They just loved and saw me for who I was at that moment. And that felt so good and so refreshing. And I fell in love with myself. And then things can just go slow and organically unfold. So I really highly recommend, whether it's 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, whatever you need, tap into that. Having, after a relationship, really giving yourself a detox from the outside world, going internal, getting off Instagram, getting off all the things that are distractions, and really going within, meditating more, being in stillness, doing more breath work. Do the work for yourself for a little while, stick to it, and then emerge back into the world slowly and see how things shift and change for you and who you start attracting into your life. It's pretty amazing how it works.
Yeah, wow, that is powerful for sure. And so when you took that break, just to go back to that, you did a lot of things like you're saying to fall in love with yourself. Did you do that through meditation? Did you did shadow work? What kind of things did you do during that break? Just to give people an idea.
Yes, and I
Yeah.
did. Basically, because I've done a lot of work on this stuff in my life, so much breath work, so much hypnotherapy, so much deep work with my own teachers and my mentors and my people, my team. I also said, well, I want to have the most intense men's work that I've ever done. I really want to get into the stuff that maybe I haven't uncovered. So I'm gonna push the reset button in every area of my life. And so I found a coach out in Tulum, a men's event that we went out to, and like, we're not doing the fun Tulum. We're talking about the 45 minutes inside the jungle with snakes and scorpions and doing man stuff dirty, for a few days, and doing the deep healing work, the guilt, the shame with other men in the nature, just like full back to primal ways. And I also do a lot of Viking stuff. That's why I get the runes tattooed on my fingers. I do Viking events for men and women. I take them to Norway, and like, I love this stuff, but I'm here to be the attendee, not the coach. Right. So I wanted to learn some new things. So they took us through some amazing deep emotional work. And then I also had the opportunity to do some psychedelics, which I have experience with, but I'd never done Sananga. I did Sananga, which is the eye drops, the root in the eyes. That was intense. So I did that. I did Temescal, which I've done before, but this was the most intense 3 hours I've ever had in the sweat lodge, the Mexican sweat lodge. I did Hape, which, and then what else did I do? There's something. Oh, I did combo, the burning and the purging, all in 5 days.
Wow.
So I was on this trip. These opportunities, it wasn't even planned. It just kind of came. And there's a Brazilian shaman there that was like amazing at what he did. Then as I got back, I did a 5-day water cleanse. So I literally hit reset in so many ways with my body, and I felt incredible. So that was me saying, let's go do the really, really intense work that I haven't done for a while, or push myself further. And that helped me kick off that cleanse from the feminine and all that, to be able to like, just not just about my past relationship, but like,
right,
not just this life and past lives. What else am I carrying from my lineage, from my ancestors? What am I carrying that I don't need to carry? What is it time to end with me in this bloodline? And so there's a lot of things came into it, but that clarity came lightening the load, removing the baggage, removing the noise, so they can get crystal clear and start really surrendering and becoming a magnet and attractor in life, as opposed to chasing anything.
right. Yeah. Okay. Chasing for sure. That is something that I'm sure everyone listening has done at some point. We've all done it, right? And now, when you've reemerged to this new dating world, that you've done the work, you're in this new world, do you find then now that you can tell when someone's coming at you with that? If you're out in the world, say you're like out there in the world meeting someone, right? Can you tell when someone's coming at you with that look at me, provey energy? And can you tell when you feel somebody in the world who maybe brings up that old part of yourself that's trying to come out? That's like, oh, I'm trying to prove? Or like when you had to say to that part, okay, back off,
Yeah.
adults running the show now?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yes, I can sense it better now, especially because I do meditate a lot. I am very in touch with the energies. I've always been an empath and I can feel a lot of things from people within 5 minutes, within less than that, 30 seconds, I'm usually tapped into their energy and can definitely tell when somebody's hiding something or like there's a mask on. 'Cause a lot of people wear masks and they come into the relationship and it's all, they want to put up their best foot forward. They're impressive. Like they're so perfect. And it's like, no, you're not. None of us are perfect.
None of us are
We all
perfect.
got our shit.
Yeah.
Let's be real. So there's the people that just like are authentic or not authentic.
Right.
I think it's just those two different sides.
Yeah.
Somebody who's being authentic and honest with themselves, you can tell. The others who are trying to mask it or cover something up, it's like, all right, well, it can take a few dates or conversations to get there, but now I'm pretty attuned to that, I think, especially now. And for me too, and I've had this discussion with Dr. Cody, who you've probably seen me on Instagram Lives with, and my buddy Joshua Wenner, who we've had some awesome conversations around this. And man, we like have a lot of that kind of right now in our 40s. It's easier to be like, and I say being picky, but it's being specific. It's being clear in what we want, what we don't want, and not getting involved with a woman if it's not green lights all the way and it feels really good. So being more sparse and saying yes and dating, or especially like exchanging sexual energy, is way more, I'm more sensitive to that. So I want to be very, very careful who I'm giving that to and working with there. And so it's not about just getting laid or just having fun and hooking up. It's more about like being intentional with your energy, because it does entangle.
Yeah.
And when you do all the work for, 3 months, 6 months, untangling energy from stuff, you want to be really protective. It still doesn't mean you're closing your heart off. It means you have a huge open heart. It just means you're being very choosy with the energies you're bringing in and attracting. I think that's really important for all of us to be taking into consideration, especially in relationship.
No, for sure. No, I love that. Okay. Do you care if I give you some rapid fire questions here?
Not at all. Let's do
Okay.
it.
Let's do it. Okay, hang on. I have them. Okay, because you started touching on some stuff that actually follows in my rapid fire questioning. So, what is for you? Okay, of course, now I don't think I pulled it up, so I might have to just make them up, but no, here they are. Okay, so what is actually now in the world of dating for you a green flag? What's immediate green flag for you?
Immediate green flag is that authenticity. Just showing up as who you are and being unapologetically yourself. Just being authentic.
Just being authentic. I like that. Okay, what is an immediate, what the kids these days are calling it, like the ick factor? What gives you that like full body, like, ugh, this is not for me?
That's good. Rapid fire. This is going to be rapid fire. I would say the just fakeness.
Right.
Just the leading with the fakeness stuff. Like, I think really it's like a lower frequency thing. I think if I'm going to say, it's like, if it's like, oh, there's attraction, but then there's just like low frequency, it's just not there. It's just kind of an ick. Like,
Right.
Done. Somebody just being fake. Yeah.
Okay. What is the biggest misconception that you think women have about men? It's probably not about
Men, that men aren't emotional beings. That men aren't good with emotions. That may be true, but like it's about like we're all emotional human beings, and I think it is like that. Guys don't have these emotions that women do, and all that. So men feel everything just as a little bit differently in a different way, and so understanding that we're also emotional beings, I think that's a really big one, and also that misconception would be another one. Would be that that in general, men are, just care about certain things. Sex, drugs, rock and roll, or fast cars and all that kind of stuff. Like there's a lot of ego driven stuff out there, and society right now doesn't make it easy to be a man. There's a lot of things that there's struggles out there for men being in chaos. And so I think those are my two first ones that come to mind.
Yeah, no, those are good. I mean, it's so true that I heard someone say the other day too about dating. She was saying oh, well, there's just no emotionally intelligent men available. And I'm like, well, if you're putting that in the universe, that's what you're going to call
Yep,
bad. But that's not true.
exactly.
So I'm glad you
Yeah,
touched on that.
yeah.
What do you think a big misconception that men have about women is?
Oh man, that's a good question. That men don't, or that women are, and I'm just gonna call or say what I hear is like a lot of men recently that I've been understanding are in chaos are that men have a misconception that all women are like it's safe, but they're not. So like men still need to feel safe, and men right, we want to be safe for women, a safe place. But most men don't know how to be safe, but they also don't feel safe around women, and they'll still date women that are unsafe to them because they're attracted to them, because they think, oh no, I just have to be a safe place for them. But I think if this is making sense, it's like that women are just safe because they're women, and that's not necessarily true. Men need to feel safe too. But I think that feeling safe for men is a little bit different, and they don't quite know how to understand that inside of themselves. So they have a misconception that like, oh, this woman is really safe for me, but they may not be, and they just because they have attraction, because they have certain things that, oh man, these things are really good, but this isn't over here. Their body could be screaming unsafe, but they won't listen to it. Kind of answers a few different questions in
No,
one,
I
but
love that.
that's
And, sorry.
it's a different perspective on it.
No, I love it. And it makes me think of another question. So I'm squirreling here, but what to you feels like, how do you know a woman's safe? I mean, you mentioned that body, like somatically, you feel it so intuitively. What defines safety in a woman to you?
There's peace and calm, actual peace and calm, as opposed to chaos and turmoil, and right, like because somebody can be fun and exciting and all that, but at the same time it can feel peaceful and calm where there's not turmoil there, where there's no reason to prove. You don't have to prove to this person that you're the man. Like you can just literally be in her stillness and feel charged up, feel energized, feel safe in your body. It's like a calmness of the nervous system, because your nervous system is what's regulating all this. So if you have a woman that you're attracted to from the men's side, and again, there may be some red flags and all that, and you're like really excited, where you have nervous, you could be nervous from a love butterflies standpoint, but like if there's not peace and calm in your system, and this is just me speaking, then it's there's something going on here. And so for me, it's like that calmness of the nervous system, peace, calm, and also just to be able to, for me, it's like safe for them to hold us, because men get to be held too,
Right.
on the chest, on the bosom, on the stomach, in the lap, like just to be held by a woman, to be able to just be like, oh, I can put the shield down, I can put the armor down, I can put the sword down, and just be. That is a very safe woman.
Right. That's awesome.
Be the small spoon once in a while.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so if your younger self could see how you date now, what would your younger self say?
Bro, I wish I knew that. I wish I knew to do that. Oh my gosh, my younger self would be surprised and also probably challenged, because like, man, when I was 20 years ago, very different outlook on women. I've always loved and respected women and had a great relationship with the feminine. I had an amazing mom and grandmother and a wonderful divine feminine in my life. And the way I was going about things was so based on outside proof, external sources, ego. It was all driven by that. And it's just a totally different world to be like at peace and attracting things, because it was all chasing back then. It was all chasing the dopamine, the ego hit, the orgasm, the chasing that winning as that younger version, and like to have it where it's the opposite of that, where I'm attracting stuff and having more fun than ever, but like not having to work. It's like almost effortless that I'm attracting the right people, things, circumstances in. It'd be like almost a mind blow. I don't even know if my younger self could understand it, even if
Right.
I said it.
Yeah. No, that's so
It's a
true.
good question.
Thanks. And no, I really think too, you've sort of said a few times in the last little bit about it's that proving, right? I think if for both men and women, it sounds like one of the things you're saying, and one of the things that I definitely feel is that being in a relationship, or when it's somebody who makes you feel like you don't have to prove, we all get to be loved simply because we exist, right? And so being around somebody who makes our nervous system feel safe, who loves us simply because we exist, and in turn we love them simply because they can exist, then we get some of that, like you're saying, the both people get to be held, all things. So yeah, that's really beautiful. I appreciate you saying all that.
Thank you. Great questions, really great questions. Like, and a great topic of discussion. Obviously, there's a lot more rabbit holes we can go into, but I feel like we've covered some really good stuff. So, like, great questions.
Yeah, thank you. And for a final little question, what's one word that you would use to describe how you want to love and to feel in this season of life?
How do I want to love and
And how do you want love to feel? I guess that's two.
love to feel? The words that are coming is like natural, organic. Ooh, you know what's coming up is surrendered.
Okay.
Surrendered to love.
Yeah.
We're surrendered in that, right? There's no chasing. There's just surrendering to love in myself, and then love how that's going to come outside myself. Surrendering has been a big theme here. So I think that's going to be the rest of the year here, and ultimately more like just surrendering to allowing those relationships to come in and let them become what they're going to become, and stay true to myself, surrendered, as opposed to becoming someone else for somebody I'm not for somebody else.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And then to wrap up, just tell us a bit about, well, your Viking stuff, because I want to know about that, and your new
Yeah.
Tallow company. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've got some really great projects going on. So first and foremost, my company, Jaeger Transformation, I do private, like one-on-one group hypnotherapy and breath work. So I work with high performers. I work with people who are going through grief. I work with men, helping them go from chaos to king. So I have a few different programs of ways I work with people in the unconscious mind, somatic breath work, and combining all that. I run these really cool events called R&R, which is like rest and recuperation, but instead this is rewire and rave. So we get together, no alcohol, no psychedelics. Once a month, we get together, we do introductions, build community, connect, do a hypnotherapy and like goal setting, and then we jump into a deep breathwork session with headphones on in a group. Have an incredible experience there. I'm guiding people through, and then after we're done talking about it and processing it, I have guest DJs that are there, like. We turn into raving clothing, and we have things to dance on, and stripper poles and cold plunges and saunas, and just like get wild and have a good time just from our natural high. So giving yourself the gift of the reset. So those are some things I'm spreading around different cities in the country. You can learn about that at rewireandrave.com. And then my Viking events are, I've been doing every other year now. It's where I take men and women out to Norway. We go become Vikings for 8 or 9 days in very specific areas. Learn how to be Vikings. When I say that, I mean like cook like a Viking, act like a Viking, learn from the Vikings, learn about the runes and the powers of the ancient wisdom, the balance of masculine and feminine, rowing Viking ships together, going on gorgeous hikes, meditating in amazing caves, connecting with our primal ways to learn about initiation in the Viking sense.
Right.
And it's a lot of fun. And it's for couples as well. Like it's a great time. I usually take 22 to 25 people out there, and we just go create a new initiation. And it's not like a typical mastermind where you're indoors all the time. We're outdoors most of the time. We're getting dirty. We're playing outside. And Norway in and of itself is a beautiful healing location. It's my favorite place in the world right now.
Wow.
And so that's what I do. You can learn about that at awakentheviking.com.
Okay.
Right now, we're not taking applications because we're getting all the new dates and stuff figured out for next year. But it's a really fun event, and I'll be doing more local stuff here through the Rewire and Rave. I've become a community member there. I also do like online breathwork stuff if people can't come to the events. And then last but not least, my Tallow, our skincare company called Audhumla, will be launching here in the U.S. in about a week or two. It is organic, certified, like grass-fed beef mixed with organic essential oils and other amazing ingredients, all top-notch, no toxins. We even have candles, clean burning tallow candles, things that I've been using on my skin and have been helping people with psoriasis, have been helping people with cuts and bruises and acne, cystic acne. Our co-founder Ash had cystic acne in her life for 11 years, and we're going to be posting her story and all that, but the only way she was able to get rid of it after all those medicines didn't work was clean, real tallow.
Wow.
nutrient-based clean tallow. Now, there is a lot of tallow out there that seeing coming on the market that is not high quality, so be careful what you buy. But Audhumla.com is where we're going to be. We're launching here again, like I said, in a week or two. We've been in business in Canada for a while, but now we're in the U.S. So it's very, very exciting time. Got some great products going on, as well as service-based businesses, and all of it's about creating impact in this world and helping people become their best version of themselves.
Well, I love that. Well, thank you so much for taking the time and for chatting and for being here. And
Thank you for having me. Thank you for bringing this podcast to other people, and I'm happy to promote it and happy to answer anybody if they want to reach out to me on Instagram or anywhere. Just message me, DM me, go to that or the website, and I'm here to help. So thank you again for having me.
thank you. Have a good day.
All right. You too.
Bye.